Yo, so there's this dude from another country who's been with my old lady for like 5 years now. We've got a 4-year-old daughter together. Lately, I've just had this feeling in my gut that my wife's been talking to someone else and being shady. Last night, while she was knocked out, I snooped through her phone and my suspicions were spot on. Turns out, she's been chatting it up with a coworker and the texts from the past couple days were deleted. The earlier messages included them both saying "I love you" and making plans for him to come over to our crib today. Text in colloquial English, while I was at work, they didn't straight up say they were going to get physical, but it was pretty clear that's what they were hinting at. There's even some evidence that they might have already done some shady stuff. Right now, I'm chilling at a Waffle House after calling into work to let them know I won't be coming in. I'm planning on trying to catch them in the act if he shows up by keeping an eye on when my home alarm is set or turned off through the app on my phone. From what I've found, if this all leads to a divorce and I can prove her cheating, she ain't getting squat in alimony if I catch her before they get too cozy. This could really mess things up if our marriage goes south. I still care about her and don't want us to split, but I can't see myself ever forgiving her for this. Even if I call her out now, I know deep down I'll still feel the same, whether or not they actually did the dirty. This hurts like hell. She's my everything, and right now it feels like there's a huge gap between us. I feel like there's a huge hole in my chest and a rock in my stomach. I'm starving but feeling so sick I can't even eat. I can't stop shaking, my mind is a mess, and it's like a piece of me is missing. I'm scared of how this will mess up my life, especially for my daughter. I'm totally lost and don't know what to do next. I haven't talked to them yet because the guy hasn't shown up, and honestly, I don't think he will, at least not today. Maybe she caught on that I'm onto something this morning. When I left, I tried to play it cool, but it really stung. Why I know. Not sure if she bought my act. According to their texts, they arranged for him to come over Thursday morning, and it's already 12:40 p.m. now. If he doesn't show, I'm gonna bring it up to her tonight. The guy never showed, so here's the plan: I'll just act like everything's normal for now. After talking to you guys and my family, I think I can handle it. Okay, so here's the deal: I'm gonna play it cool for now, but tomorrow morning I'm heading to see a lawyer. I'm also gonna have a chat with a private investigator that I'm thinking of hiring. From the texts I've seen, it looks like she's planned for him to come over during my hunting trip next weekend. Well, guess what? I'm still gonna go on that trip and I'll make sure to let the PI know about it. I've pretty much made up my mind that I'm done with this relationship. I'm not gonna bother trying to fix things anymore. I'm gonna look out for myself and get out of this mess. It's more than just a situation. Just a simple situation where she's getting emotionally involved with someone else. She's telling him she loves him and it seems like she doesn't love me anymore. I feel like she's trying to use me for her own gain. She wanted a new car and for me to pay for her education, but she also wanted to be with him. Right now she's probably gone to pick up our daughter from daycare. I'm watching the clock because I know how long it usually takes. If she's gone longer than usual, I can probably figure out where she went. Either way, I'm going to confront her about it. Hopefully I can make it through Christmas and my daughter's birthday next Friday without mentioning this issue. Hopefully the private investigator can find some evidence by then. Wish me luck. So I got home and acted like everything was normal. Everything seemed fine, we even joked around a bit. But it hurt so bad being heartbroken. We had dinner and sat on the couch afterwards. Then she asked me to pause the TV and brought it up. I asked her what she was talking about and she said she knew I saw the texts. That's when the conversation started. Yo, so she told me that he didn't show up, which I already knew. And then she goes and tells him she's done talking to him, even blocked his number. So obviously, the original plan is off the table. I still love her, but my heart is broken. I don't know if I can ever forgive her or trust her again. I'm not sure if I can keep this relationship going. She wants to work things out, but I'm not sure if I'm down for that. She claimed she was talking to him because she didn't feel wanted, didn't feel a connection. There was a strong emotional bond between us and he always knew exactly what to say. She keeps saying she told him she was done with him multiple times, but here she is inviting him to our place. She claims it wasn't a choice, but he felt for him. The story she tells is that he was at my register one day and I accidentally touched his hand and it felt like an electric shock. I know you're probably reading this and thinking it's all BS. Well, I'm thinking the same thing. How can I trust her? I just can't see things from her point of view. Should I give her a shot? Should I try to sort things out? Honestly, I'm not sure. Do I even want to? Is it worth it? I need to figure all of this out. I told her I can't make a decision right now. I need some time to think about it. I'm thinking about asking some coworkers since I don't have any family in town, one of the perks of being in the military. Maybe I can crash on their couch for a few days. I need to get away from all this and clear my mind. Yeah, I'll definitely be home for Christmas for my daughter's sake. I don't see the point in hiring a private investigator right now because I don't think she'll do anything shady for a while. But hey, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. In the meantime, I'm being extra cautious to keep tabs on her, and if anything seems fishy, I'm out of there. Of course, she won't know any of this. This is the last update for today, so keep the advice coming. Perspective and advice, but at the end of the day, I think I gotta think this over real good, considering all the unanswered questions, my feelings, and the plan. Let's do a little question answer for the most common questions. Question: how did she figure out that I knew? Answer: there were two ways. First, she had a feeling because when she woke up, there was a notification on her phone for a new screenshot. But when she clicked on it, there was no file. She was totally sure that I knew once she realized that. Hey, so I found this post and yeah, she definitely saw it. She's probably reading it as we speak. I'll talk more about that later. So, when I asked her if she had an affair with him, she said no. I kind of trust her on that, because in a lot of the messages, even the recent ones, he was always going on about how excited he was to see how hot her V is. That's a direct quote from him, by the way. But, just because I believe her on that doesn't mean I think she's completely innocent. My feelings about the situation haven't changed. Whether she actually did it or not, she was thinking about it and most likely would have gone through with it if I didn't find out. If we ever get close again, which will take a while if it even happens, we both need to get tested for STDs. The big question is, how can I trust that she won't do it again? Honestly, I have no idea. If we try to make things work, I'll probably never be able to fully trust her again. She'll have to show me that she can be completely honest. This is the first test for my wife. If you're seeing this, hit me up with a text right now. Stop reading and shoot me a message. I'll know if you saw this and chose not to text me. If that happens, it's done. Let me spill some tea on the comments I've been seeing. I'd say about 80 to 90% of y'all are telling me to get a lawyer and ditch her. Out of that, only like 20% are giving me actual reasons. The rest are just saying once a cheater, always a cheater, or some BS. So, like, 10 to 20% of y'all are saying I should just go for it or do what makes me happy. It's funny cause most of the peeps telling me to stick around are marking some good points. Big shout out to everyone who left a comment. It really means a lot to me that random internet strangers took the time to help or show support. And, like, don't go hatin' on folks just cause you don't agree with them. Everyone's perspective is important, even if it's different from yours. In my last update, I feel like I may have come off a certain way. She basically said she hooked up with him because she was feeling unloved, but she knows she messed up. She admits she should have talked to me about it and takes full responsibility for her actions. She reassured me that she doesn't blame me for what went down. I didn't force her or anything. She says she could have kept her feelings for him in check, which I'm not sure about, but she could have at least controlled herself. She let him talk her into it because deep down, I think that's what she wanted. Back then, even though she might not have known it, we had some problems in our marriage. Lately, we've been having trouble communicating, and our sex life hasn't been great either. I felt like she didn't care enough, and she felt the same way about me. Neither of us really tried to fix these issues. Am I solely to blame for what happened? Hell no, not even a little bit. She made the decision and she knows how I feel about it. I'm not trying to convince you to like her. Listen, I never really thought she was a total bitch. Yeah, she might suck as a wife for what she did to me, but she's not all bad. Anyway, let's talk about what we are gonna do next. I've been doing some serious thinking last night and this morning about what I really want and what will make me happy. I'm not gonna decide to stick around or bounce just because of what she wants. I'm not gonna stay just to keep the family intact. I gotta make this call based on what I want. And honestly, I wanna make it work with her. But I haven't decided yet. I want us to work on our problems, go to therapy, and have a better marriage than ever before. But I really don't know if that's possible. Once she saw this post, I realized she knows about the South Carolina law on cheating and how it could impact alimony. That was my only excuse. Now that she knows, I don't think she would cheat on me for a while. So hiring a private investigator now or when I go hunting next weekend would be pointless. But if she sees this and realizes I'm not hiring a private investigator, she might try to pull a fast one. That's why I'm taking some steps to make sure she can't get away with anything. If she does, I'll have proof to back me up. I had a light bulb moment. I figured out that if we try to patch things up, I won't be able to trust her for a long time, if ever. I started thinking about what would make me believe that she really wants to be with me and put effort into our relationship, not just for what I can give her. So I asked her if she'd be cool with signing a postnup. Still gotta talk to a lawyer about the specifics, but basically it'd say that if we split, she wouldn't get any money, stuff, or child support. She'd keep her own things like her computer, clothes, jewelry, etc. Just to be clear, I wouldn't screw over my daughter or stop her from seeing her mom. I just don't want to pay the usual monthly child support and instead give her some money based on how much time she spends with our daughter. I'm not sure how it would all work, that's why I need legal advice to make sure it's doable. I have some other ideas too, but I'm not gonna spill them here in case she sees this. My plans involve her not knowing about them. I might share them later on, but not anytime soon. Right now, I'm waiting to see if the postnuptial agreement goes as I want it to. Okay, so here's the deal, I'm considering giving our relationship another shot. I know some of you might not be on board with this, but I have a feeling she might be sincere. Sure, there's a chance she's lying or just not a great person, but I remember who she was before all this drama. I remember when our marriage was solid. I don't think she strayed because she wanted to be with someone else or because she stopped loving me. I think she did it because the other guy was feeding her the same lines I used to. Alright, so when me and her first started dating, I think she's feeling nostalgic about how things were back then. We can't exactly go back to how it was, but there's a few ways this could play out. Either we try to fix our problems, it doesn't work and we split up, we try to fix things but she keeps cheating and we split up, or we really work on the issues we've had from the start and our marriage ends up stronger than ever. I'm really hoping for the last one. Hey, so I just wanted to add real quick to my last update that she's got some major self-esteem issues. She's always seen herself in a negative way and she's pretty shy and hasn't had the chance to meet many people. This job is the first time she's been around others in years. Obviously, that's no excuse for her behavior, but I thought it was worth mentioning. We had a chat and tried to work things out, and for a bit it seemed like things were getting better. But then she started feeling unsure again. So, we were chatting about how she was feeling and whether she was up for giving it a go. We kept talking and she eventually said she was willing to give it a shot. We even had a session with a therapist on Wednesday. During the session, she mentioned she wasn't happy in the marriage and felt like I didn't care or talk to her. The therapist asked her some questions and she basically admitted that I did care and tried to communicate, or at least made an effort. The therapist explained to her that it wasn't that I didn't care, like she admitted herself. It was more about her being unhappy and not sure about what she wanted. Well, she made her choice last night. She started setting up an air mattress in the spare room and I saw she bought new sheets just for it. I got curious about when she ordered them, so I peeked at her phone and saw she was texting him again. It's obvious that it's done between us. We are headed for a divorce. I know some of you might say, I told you so, but I already knew this was gonna happen. I made the best decision to try and fix things with my wife, and I know I won't regret it. In the future, I'll look back on this knowing I did everything I could to make our relationship work. I have no regrets now, and that makes me happy. I put in my all, so I can't blame myself. And please, don't call my wife names or talk bad about her. It doesn't help to hear how awful she is when I still care about her. Love isn't something you can just turn off. I still haven't forgiven her and I might never be able to, but I don't hold any grudges against her. I still want what's best for her and our daughter, and I honestly think she feels bad about hurting me even though she can't control her emotions. Our relationship is done, but she's making plans to move back to Florida with her family, which means she's also leaving this other guy. She doesn't think she can be happy with me anymore, but I don't think she's leaving me just to be with him. In my opinion, she's just into the thrill of a new relationship, you know, that stage where everything feels all new and exciting. I think she's got her own emotional baggage and self-esteem issues to deal with. For now, she'll keep crashing at our place and hopefully, she'll start seeing a therapist. She'll still get some perks from being married while she's here, you know, according to the laws in South Carolina we gotta live apart for a year before we can even think about divorce. But she'll be out of here pretty soon. We've decided to do some mediation to sort things out. Instead of wasting money on lawyers to avoid drama, luckily we are still on good terms. She's agreed not to ask for alimony and I think she'll be cool with me having full custody of our daughter as long as she can see her regularly once it's official. I won't screw her over, despite what some of you might think. Thanks for all the help and support, but you don't know the whole story of our relationship. She's not a bad person, I really believe that. She's telling me the truth and has no plans to trick me. It's gonna be tough for a while, but we'll make it through. Right now, my main focus is making sure our daughter is looked after and that we make choices that are best for her. About 7 months ago, something big happened. My wife and I had a nice house in a good neighborhood and we were close with our neighbors down the street, until the wife. After his wife died of cancer, the husband and father got really sad and couldn't handle looking after the kids because they reminded him too much of his wife. So, the kids went to stay with their grandparents for a while. After about 3 or 4 months, the husband started to feel better. He started coming over more often, and my wife and I got close to him. He would pop by every other day for a chat and coffee. But I started to notice my wife getting a bit too cozy with him, like hugging him for too long. So, like, this one time, I was at this chick's house and she opened the door, and there was some low-key flirting going on, but I was just like, nah, it's all good, he's practically part of the fam, you know. I totally trusted him. I was convinced nothing shady would go down. But then, here's where it gets interesting. I work for this big security company that's like a 20-minute drive from our place, so during my lunch break, I usually hit up a restaurant with some work buddies instead of going home. So, on our 5th anniversary, I was like, screw it, let's. Hey, I decided to surprise my wife today by leaving work early and coming home with flowers, chocolates, a teddy bear, and a super sappy letter I wrote for her. I even asked my boss if I could sneak out 20 minutes early so we could have lunch together for our anniversary, and he was cool with it. I left work, grabbed the flowers and teddy bear I bought earlier, and then swung by to pick up the chocolates. I even got a cheap basket to throw everything in before heading back home. Got home and saw all the stuff in the basket with a letter on top. As soon as I walked in the house, I could tell something wasn't right. Usually, when I come in, my wife yells out to me. Our front door is loud as hell, so you can hear it slam from anywhere in the house. Saw her car in the driveway, so I knew she was home. As I bent down to take off my shoes, I noticed a pair of huge boots. I never really paid attention to our neighbor's shoes before, but seeing those boots brought back a vague memory. I tried to remember what it was. Listen, I was trying to hear if they were talking, but I didn't hear anything. Then I heard this weird bump 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 noise coming from upstairs. I knew that sound, it was the bed frame hitting the wall. And then it hit me, I just stood there trying to connect the dots. I hadn't even moved since I walked in the door. I didn't cry, scream, or even blink. I don't know why, but when I'm super sad or shocked, I just shut down. I can't even put it into words. Man, it was so freaking terrible. In just 5 seconds, everything we had built over the 16 years I spent with this woman, all our dreams of starting a family, all the sacrifices and changes I made for her, gone. Just gone. But I'm not the type to give up without a fight. If she was going to rip my heart out, then she was going to suffer too. I put a basket on the table and grabbed a couple of garbage bags from the kitchen. I went through the whole house, throwing all of her stuff, her decorations, her pictures, everything, into the bags. We had a spare room where I kept so many of our clothes, so I just dumped all her stuff into a separate bag. Then I grabbed a marker from the study, sat on the couch, and started writing and doodling on all the pictures. Stuff like a 403 damn 403, and imagine what we could have had, you know. I chucked the pictures into the bag and snuck them outside our bedroom. Man, I wish I had put on some earbuds or covered my ears or something. This was the woman I'd been with since college, the one I shared all those special moments with, the one I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. So, she was talking shit about me while she was moaning and gasping, telling our neighbor how much bigger his dick was, how he could last longer, and how she wished they could hook up every day. I quickly grabbed a marker and paper, wrote, "Happy Anniversary 403 inches" on it, and taped it to one of her bags. While I was at it, I also took her car keys from the top of the fridge. Technically, it used to be my car anyway. Man, there was no way I was gonna let her get away with it. I stormed back to the bedroom door, ready to bust in and wreck her world. But then I had a second thought: what if I just acted like I didn't see or hear anything? What if I went back to work and pretended everything was fine? Maybe we could still make things work if I just ignored it all. But screw that. She had already crushed my heart and I wasn't about to let her off easy. So, I strolled in like it was no big deal. The bed was right by the door, and there she was getting cozy with that chubby dude. I pushed her against the wall, then casually walked over to the chair in the corner and plopped down. I took off my wedding ring and chucked it at the guy's head. I wish I could have seen the look on my neighbor's face when he realized I caught him with my wife. It must have been priceless. He freaked out, jumped off the bed, and scrambled to find his pants. My wife was like, "What?" and turned around to see what was up. That's when our eyes locked. I gave her the smuggest grin I could muster as she started freaking out and blabbering about how she mistook him for someone else. Man, she was rambling on and on, couldn't even understand a word she was saying while crying and trying to make excuses. All I said was, "Happy anniversary, babe," then gave her 5 minutes to get out of my place. She knew she couldn't argue, so she threw on her clothes and bolted out the door. When she saw her stuff packed up with the sign I made, she started bawling even more. Meanwhile, my chubby neighbor was still searching for his pants and just standing there clueless. So there I was, just chilling, when my big ol' wife comes in all upset. She looks me dead in the eyes and says, "How am I supposed to get to my parents' place?" She must have known I wasn't gonna let her take the car. I just shrugged and told her, "Not my problem." She started crying a bit and then asked me for some cash for the bus. I sighed and asked her how much she needed. She took a deep breath and said, "About $350. So, there I was, just chilling, when I suddenly clocked that my missus was actually a massive Loch Ness monster from way back in the day. I was like, "You ain't getting nothing from me, 350. I started yelling at her, grabbed my harpoon and let it rip, making her scream in pain. I called out to my neighbor, who was still half naked, to help me take down this beast. He quickly grabbed his own weapon and smacked her slimy head with it, causing her to crash to the ground with a thud. My neighbor and I high-fived and had a little celebration. That's when we decided to team up, and for the last 7 months, we've been going pantsless and fighting monsters together. Me and my buddy have been globetrotting, hunting down monsters to conquer. Thanks.